Hi, I'm Pam with PJ's Glass Creations. Are you a lover of cats? And do you like to fuse glass? Then maybe this is the perfect project for you. Follow me and you'll learn how, step by step, to make this cute bobblehead cat. You can see his face is detached from his body and kind of bobbles a little bit. So let's have some fun making this. I have all of my pieces for my cat cut out. I'm assuming if you're watching this video that you already know how to cut pieces. You can find this pattern on my website, pjsglasscreations.etsy.com. It has all the colored pieces as well as all of the white pieces, and then it also lists additional things that you might need, like a nose and some eyes and some wire and such. The first thing I'm going to do is move this out of the way. I'm going to paint the pupils on my cat's eyes. And these nuggets are a bullseye spring green. You can use a yellow maybe too. A lot of cats have yellow eyes. And I'm going to paint a line straight across. Then I'm going to do an arc on either side. And if it's not perfect, I'm not going to worry about it because once it's dry, I can use a toothpick and refine my lines. So there's one. And there's two. Clean off my brush a little bit. And the next thing we need is a white. And again, an easy fire enamel in a white. And if your enamels have been sitting for a while, by the way, you do need to really stir them well. On the muzzle, I'm going to find the middle. It's about right there, I think. And I'm going to make 3 whiskers on either side. And again, if they're wider than you want or not quite the right shape or whatever, you can fix them later. You can see mine kind of at the end, they kind of lose their color. So I'm going to probably make them a little bit wider than I want them. Then I'll go back with that toothpick and make them skinny again. And there's 2 sides. And my nose is going to go right in the middle there, so I'm not going to worry too much about what it looks like right there in the center. I'm going to put my eyes and my muzzle in the toaster oven for about 10 minutes at about 170, 200 degrees, just so that I can dry the enamel and then I can work with my pieces. So I'll be right back. While the enamel is drying on my other pieces, I'm going to work a little bit on my cat's body. And the first thing I'm going to do is use my wire. This is about an inch, inch and a half inch piece of high fire wire. It's 17 gauge. I probably need to move this up a little bit. And I'm going to sandwich the wire between the paw and the leg. And the reason for this is this will go into the base to secure my cat. So I'm going to add some glue here and sandwich it. Add some glue here. And I'm using a super glue. It's a Gorilla super glue. There's other super glues there. You can use whatever brand works for you, just don't use a gel because a gel will leave a mark. And then this particular cat is going to have a little white belly. So we're gonna do that. And I'm going to let this all dry for a little bit. We'll switch back and do the head, and then we'll come back and finish up the body after the paws have dried. My pieces are out of the oven, and I'm going to use this toothpick. They're kind of hard to hold on to. The eyeballs are kind of hard to hold on to. And I find it's better if I just stick them between my fingers. That one looks actually pretty good. That one has a little extra right there. I'm just going to scrape that off. You can kind of see why I didn't worry too much about what we did beforehand, because you can always fix it later. And then here, I want my whiskers thinner. So again, I'm going to scrape off the extra. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So we are ready to assemble. First thing I'm going to do is put the muzzle on. Again, I'm using that super glue. And the muzzle goes right down at the very bottom. And the eyes go right above that. And if you have a hard time holding on to your pieces, try using some tweezers. I have these tweezers that have little rubber tips. I got them somewhere on Amazon, I think. And they actually work pretty good. In fact, I think I'm going to use that for this little nose. And I made some eyebrows just to give him a little expression. And if you're having a hard time cutting out the eyebrows, by the way, try using a rectangle. That's like 3/4 of an inch by not quite 3/4 of an inch, and there maybe about 3/4 by a half, I don't know. And then kind of round the edges here, and then use your grinder and kind of round up in there. All right, and the next thing we're going to do, I wish this muzzle would dry, but it's not, is the ears. Just a little bit of glue, put the ears on. And I'm not using his tail yet. I'm gonna put the tail there just to give it some support until my ears dry. Kind of make sure they're even. And then you put the little pink parts in. And there you have the head. We're also going to finish up his body, and all you need to do for that is put the legs on either side of his little white tummy. And make sure that these bottoms of the paws aren't lower than the stomach. In fact, I'm having a hard time seeing from this angle, but I think it's okay. And I know that I have not put his tail on yet, and I haven't attached the two pieces. And in the past, I have tried finishing my assembly and putting him in the kiln, one firing, and it's done. The problem with that is that this wire has to go between the two pieces. So it's here, and then the body goes down here. And I have other pieces underneath that are sandwiching the wire. And it's just too many layers, and it's too tippy. And what I have found is that when it's in the kiln, it has a mind of its own, and I'll find that I have a leg that is all the way off, or I have his muzzle slides all the way over here or something. So what I have found works best is to take these two pieces, just as they are, put them in the kiln for a tack fuse. I shortened my fuse time from 15 minutes to 10 because after it comes out of the kiln, we're going to do the final assembly, and we need to put it in again for a tack fuse. And if you have it going too long each time, then you lose a lot of definition. So this is going in the kiln. I will post the firing schedule that I use. All kilns are different, so yours might be a little bit different. And then after it comes out of the kiln, we will do the final assembly and put it on the base. I'll see you in the morning after it comes out. My cat is out of the kiln. He has his head and his body separate, so right now we need to attach them. Again, I'm going to be using the super glue. And the first thing I need to do is attach my wire to these two rectangular pieces that you made. They're on the list for the pattern. And then this piece, or this part, is going to go on the very top of his body. And this part here is going to go about, oh, I'm bleeding, sorry, about the middle of his head. So I'm going to put some glue in the middle of his head. And put it right there. And then finally, you can see how his head kind of tips, by the way. This is why I did another separate fuse first, because if my whole thing was assembled, glued together, and it was leaning this way, most likely some of these features would have slid off in the kiln. So that's not going to happen now since he is already pre-fused. And I apologize for, hazards of being a glass artist is that you bleed sometimes. And then lastly, we're going to put his tail in, and it's going to go just about the middle of his belly here. I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to put it in the kiln and fire it at that conservative or the shortened version of the tack fuse, which I'll post again. And then the final step will be to bend the wires to make him act as a bobblehead and put him on a base. So I'll see you for the next step. My cat has come out of the kiln. I think he's pretty cute. He turned out pretty cute. And I need to bend him so he becomes a bobblehead. And you can see this wire is attached up here under his head. It's attached up here at the top of his body. It is not attached right here. And that's exactly what we wanted. And we're going to first fold right here. We're going to fold it in half. And you do have to be careful that you don't break off any parts that the wire, like these parts here where the wire goes under. So he's in half. And then I'm going to put my finger, well, I'm going to start bending him up, but I'm going to put my finger about maybe right here. There's my thumb right here, actually. And I'm going to start making an S. You can see it's starting to make an S here. And you can kind of adjust how high or low his head goes by where you make that S. And you can also move it left to right if you have to. So here's my cat. You can see if I touch his head, kind of bobbles a bit. And next we will put him on a stand and he'll be all done. My cat has 2 wires, so he's going to need a bigger base. A lot of mine have only 1 wire and I can get away with using something like this. But for the cat, I guess I could have put 1 wire right here, but I put it in his paws, so I'm gonna need something a little bit wider. And the first thing I need to do is cut my wire down. And I'm going to mark with a pencil where to drill holes. I want 2 holes, 1 for each of these. So here's a hole here, and I'll be right back. I'm just going to drill these with a drill bit that's about the same size as the wire. I drilled my holes, and I'm going to test my cat, make sure my wires aren't too long, and it looks like they are. They're just a little too long. You can see he doesn't quite hit the bottom there. So I'm just going to trim them down a little. try it again. And that's better. Actually, his belly hits here before his paws, but that's fine. I'm going to put a little E6000. You can use what glue works for you on the wires. And stick the wires in the holes. And when it dries, we will have our cat bobblehead. I hope you had fun making this bobblehead cat. If you did, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And look for my other tutorials on my YouTube channel as well. Thanks. Bye.